StockPulse newsroom. We are talking power nickel. That's PNPN, Toronto Venture Exchange, CMETF on the OTCQB in the States. And I've got Terry Lynch, the CEO. We're going to run through a little some results here, I guess. You've got Terry. We haven't connected here in a while, so you got a fully funded 5,000 meters. You're going to get into this here. So before we talk about that, back us up a little bit. Tell us how your 21 went, maybe where you came from, and then let's talk about these 5,000 meters.
Yeah, for sure. It's interesting. I mean, basically, coming into 21, just before that, when we were obviously a copper gold company, and we were obviously in Chile, and we had a really great gold acquisition that we had made in the Golden Triangle in BC, and we thought we were sort of going to be focusing on that, and then all of a sudden, I came across this NISK asset, which is this nickel deposit in just south of James Bay in Quebec. And man, a friend of mine, said, Terry, are you aware that this nickel deposit is on Critical Elements book? And he knew that I was a big investor in Critical and knew the guys there well. And I said, no, I wasn't even aware. And I looked at it, and he said, well, I think you should buy it. And I'm saying, well, I'm a gold copper company. How does that work? He said, well, yeah, this is going to become a mine, man, and you can get it. So like, what are you talking about? Get after that. So I had to sort of sit back and look at it and sort of say, he's not wrong. So we looked at it, and we ended up, talking to JS and the team at Critical, and obviously it made sense for them to monetize it because they were getting no respect for that asset on their balance sheet. So we did a really good transaction for both parties, and we ended up acquiring effectively 80% of it, and we spent I think $4 million over 5 years to do that. But we'll spend that this year, and then we'll go from there. So what was interesting, to that deposit for us was that it was a historical resource, so that's always a bit, speculative in people's minds, and I think that's probably why it was still out there. But when we looked at the resource, and we talked to the Monarch Gold CEO that Monarch had made the discovery back in the day, and it was 3.1 million tons of effectively 1.7% nickel EQ, which is really great grade for the nickel sulfate. So we basically looked at it and we felt, wow, this thing is open at depth. It's open along strike. Could be a real winner. And then we, so we ended up making the deal, and then we closed sort of like last March, February, I guess, and then then we hired a really great. One of the good things with working with Critical was that they had worked that area quite extensively, obviously with their great lithium deposits. So they had a modeling engineering firm that they're using up there that had modeled another deposit up there. And so this was their second. And this, we became their third. So they had a lot of domain expertise. So we got these guys in, Ken Williamson and his team, Matthew and his team. And they basically done a great job, modeled the deposit out 3D, first time ever. And then we went and we drilled it, And the neat thing was we sort of got in there in November, about a 4-week, 5-week program, drilled 8 holes, 7 of the 8 hit. Well, that's fantastic, really. The 8th was hit a fault, so it didn't hit, but the other 7 hit. And the interesting thing about our deposit is that the pay dirt is in a very distinctive visual rock. So I told our shareholders at the time we were pretty pumped about what we were seeing on the drill bit because we were hitting this black peridot rock. And that's, as you can see, I don't know, the front cover of our pitch deck has the slide sort of has the core samples of the recent drilling, and it sort of shows that rock. And again, it's very, very distinctive. So you know when you hit it. So it really is sort of encouraging when that happens, when you go 7 for 8 in drilling. That's fantastic. So we and the grades were basically analogous to what we had in the historical resource. So where does that leave us? Well, it leaves us with we've definitely expanded the deposit, and we've also proved up the historical resource. So we'll have a new 43101 coming out sometime, probably late April, early May. Probably early May at this stage, and that will obviously restate the resource, and we'll get that out, and that'll be, I think, maybe when the market really wakes up to us, because obviously the market started to wake up with our results, and then it run quite nicely, and then Then we just got hammered back, we think, largely by the shorts, because who's selling this stock at this price? It makes no sense, because, this is like, if you look at it on a comparable basis, it's the best nickel deal, price per unit of risk on the planet. I mean, if there's a better one out there, I want to know about it, because I want to buy that one too, because this is just, really, really great. So anyway, we're pumped about what we've come across in our drilling. And we're excited about what the next 5,000 meters will bring us. We think that's going to really open this thing up and add a bunch more tonnage. And people are going to see that we're going to get commercial on this thing. So it's going to go from zero to hero very soon.
Yeah, just in the nick of time here, hopefully. Certainly under recognized in the market, as you mentioned there, Terry. So yeah, let's lay out those 5,000 meters here. When are we going to start to see the fruits of your hunting hidden treasure down up in Canada?
Yeah, so I mean, basically, we're just tying up the rig now. So breakup will happen, in May. So we're looking to get in there probably end of May, early June. And permitting we've already done, so that wouldn't be a problem. So we'll look to get in there, and we'll drill sort of, I would say, June through early July. And that will mean we'll probably get results back realistically 1st of September to 1st of October. You know how the assays are these days. So it'll. But again, like last time, we'll be advising people if we're hitting the pay dirt, and maybe this time they'll listen, because we're getting closer, to adding some. If you look at the stark difference in valuations in our pitch deck, we sort of run through the half a dozen what I call higher grade nickel public issues in the TSXV. And the number, what you'd like to be when you grow up would be Talon Metals, which is has great deposit down in Minnesota, and they basically they have effectively $1 billion deposit. Now they own 60%. Rio Tinto owns 40. They're around 600 million market cap last I looked, and basically they've got about 11 million tons of 2.1% nickel EQ. So if you looked at us versus all the others, we did it on just a price per unit of nickel discovered, we're by far the cheapest. And so I think, what'll happen as we start to move forward and people realize, wow, these guys are really close to being commercial, because to get to be commercial here, you have to get at least 8 million tons. And obviously 10 is better. A lot of deposits like that in the world. These deposits typically range between 8 and 50. So obviously we're shooting for that. I think we're going to be well north of 10 before this is over. So, I'm obviously super bullish right now, but I don't see any reason why I wouldn't be.
Yeah, you laid out a heck of a case that you're undervalued there, Terry. So give us a quick health check on the company here. How much fuel's in the tank to carry out the mission? You good for now, or you?
Yeah, we're good for now. We called our warrants in, which is why the stock's under a little bit of pressure right now until the 29th. So that'll leave us at over 2 million in the tank, and this round will cost us about $1 million. So we're okay. Obviously, we'll need cash to execute going forward, but we've got a couple of agendas going on in the cash front. One is, we as I said, I think we're sort of getting hounded a little bit by the shorts right now. So we're doubling down and saying, okay, guys, let's see how much courage you really got, because we're about to do another 5,000 meter program and step this up from maybe 4 million tons to 6 or 7. How are you going to feel then? At some point, we're going to start to get paid $60-70 million a ton for this. And so that's going to be a 10-20 bagger from here. We'll see exactly where these guys are at courage wise. They're not in it. They're the smartest guys on the planet, these shorts. They'll cover their stuff and move on. Next victim. That's my view. So that's one thing. Second thing is, I think that we're having conversations right now with a couple of strategic partners, and nickel industry types and nickel consumer types. And it would probably be a good move for us, we think, to bring in a 10% strategic partner. And we do this for a couple of reasons. One, we'll get more money from them than we would from the market right now. So we're definitely not doing any financing in the market at today's rate. I've had tons of brokers offer me lots of money, said no. So we're not doing that. But the strategic partners do a couple of things for you. One, they're going to give you a better price. because they're buying for other reasons. The second is they take away a lot of odor on a project like us. I mean, we're a junior mining company. We're not Inco. We're a junior, and so people are always dubious about those guys. So if you get a strategic partner, of a nickel industry type or a nickel consumer, it says a lot of things. It says, hey, that deposit is likely to become commercial, and these guys have the ability to bring it to that commercial stage. So that's sort of why that's of interest to us. And the reason why it's of interest to those people is the nickel sulfate demand is so high because, I mean, generally speaking, this is what becomes the easiest class 1 nickel. And it's also the most energy efficient class 1 nickel. You can get, the laterites in the Philippines and Indonesia, but those are dirty metals. I mean, it's going to take a ton of energy. If the marketing guys are doing all this to get electrification and to be green, taking the laterites in Indonesia and the Philippines, that's not clean. And so that's why there's so much demand, so much interest in these smaller nickel sulfate deposits, because they're very pure. They can get to the class 1 nickel very easily, very energy efficiently, very ESG friendly, and people want to be able to wrap themselves up in that flag. So we think that's a real plus for our project.
Okay, well, we'll leave it there and look forward to checking back in when you hit the wire again. Terry Lynch, he's the CEO. PNPN here for Power Nickel on the venture, and we got CMETF on the OTCQB in the States. So Terry, hey, thanks for that in-depth update, and certainly a lot going on, a lot to pay attention to. We'll check back in when you hit the wire again.
Appreciate it. Thanks, pal. Cheers.